The polls have shifted in Donald Trump's favor. He currently leads Kamala Harris by 0.3% in national poll survey for the first time since she stepped into the race. This will be remembered as one of the tightest elections in American history that could be decided by less than 20,000 votes. For this prediction video, we'll be diving into the polling averages, 65 million votes counted so far, polling errors, and prediction markets for each battleground state. Prediction markets like Polymarket has an advantage of having odds reacting in real time to current events, as opposed to polls which get updated days later. According to the latest odds, Trump has a significant 61% chance of winning the election. Trump is doing just as great as he was after Biden's disastrous debate performance. Democrats' attempt to gain lead by replacing a Democratic nominee proved to have not such effective results, as Trump is now leading again like he was. So for this video, we're gonna see who would win the election according to the most recent polling averages, but with other sources considered as well to see whether or not they're supporting polls' accuracy. I already filled in all the non-battleground states that are perceived safe or likely, and I'd be truly astonished if any of these states shift to oppositional candidate. So without further ado, we'll start off with the West Coast states and then move towards the East, leaving the most competitive northern Rust Belt states for the end of the video. So in Nevada, current polling average has Trump leading Harris by 0.9% according to Real Clear polling average. The more surprising news and a serious concern for Democrats is Trump's lead among nearly 950,000 ballots already cast. Polymarket predicts Trump having a strong 64% chance of maintaining the lead in Nevada this November. Now, Nevada was won by a Democratic nominee in straight 4 previous election cycles, meaning Trump lost the state twice, in 2016 to Clinton and 2020 to Biden. In 2020, headed into election day, Biden's victory was expected by 5.3%, but yet he won by 2.4%, meaning the GOP was underestimated by 2.9%. Now, applying that adjustment to the current polling average, and Trump's lead would increase to 3.8 percentage points. Taking a closer look, Nevada appears as a solid red state on a map. 17 counties are solid red, but also very rural and less populated. More Democratic Clark County, on the other hand, holds 73% of state's population, meaning it is literally 2/3 of the vote. So GOP needs to maintain support among working-class rural voters and try to squeeze more votes as possible from urban counties. And Democrats need to receive higher turnout from diverse and younger urban population who historically tend to vote Democratic. For now, we'll mark Nevada as a tilt Republican state. Next up is Arizona. At this very moment, Trump's margin is at 2.3 percentage point. Trump is currently at 49.2% and Harris at 46.9%. Almost 2 million votes have been cast already and suggest Republicans are ahead of Democrats by 7%. According to Prediction Market, Trump is skyrocketing with 75% chances of winning Arizona. Trump is currently outperforming in polling average when compared with 2020 poll that predicted Biden's victory by 2.6%. Although Biden did carry Arizona, but by only 0.3%, Republicans were once again underestimated by 2.3%. And if we add that to the Trump's current margin, that brings him up to 4.6 percentage points. Arizona had a significant shift in political landscape when a Democratic candidate Joe Biden won in 2020 for the first time since 1996. These changes are attributed to the growth of younger Hispanic population in urban areas like Phoenix and increased turnout among Indian voters. Arizona shares an international border with Mexico, which is why Trump is focusing on border enforcement. In the meantime, Harris is focused on abortion rights, highlighting Trump's role in near-total abortion ban. And now we're moving to the peach state of Georgia, that has been considered a traditionally conservative state. In 2020, Biden narrowly won Georgia by the lowest margin he pulled out of any American state, only 0.2%. That marked the first victory of Democratic nominee in Georgia since Bill Clinton in 1992. This shift was attributed to a combination of demographic changes and high turnout among young and minority voters. Now Trump managed to take back Georgia, as currently he's ahead by 2.6% and has been consistently leading in every single single conducted poll. He's also doing very good in polling averages, leaving Harris no chances at all to turn the state blue like Biden did in 2020. In terms of over 3.7 million ballots cast already, Republicans are up by 3%. Betting gods are cementing Trump's lead in Georgia. He has even 72% chances of victory compared to Harris's only 28%. Georgia was another state that underestimated Trump in 2020, but by just 1%, proving that as a battleground state, it did have the most accurate polling average for previous election cycle. In North Carolina, the latest polling average shows Trump leading by 1.5%. The latest poll conducted by Atlas Intel shows his best margin so far in North Carolina, even 4%. This is a massive improvement in the last crucial days until the election night. Since Harris became the Democratic nominee, she did narrow Biden's gap, but still never actually led in polling averages, not even once. 3.6 million votes have been cast in North Carolina and shows Republicans leading by 1%. Betting markets predict Trump will most definitely take North Carolina. At this moment, he's way up at 73% and Harris continues to drop lower and lower. North Carolina remains competitive, but definitely with an edge for Republicans, who consistently won in each election cycle. It was the only battleground state that Trump won in both 2016 by 3.7% and in 2020 by 1.3%. For previous two election cycles, Democrats were predicted to finally turn the state blue, like the last time when Barack Obama did in 2008. But the polls were totally wrong. Polling average overestimated Biden's margin in 2020 by 3.2%, which, if adjusted into the current polling data, brings Trump to 4.7%. So former President Trump is now just 2 electoral votes away from becoming the 47th president. This means even if he sweeps entire Sunbelt, he still needs to win at least one of the northern giants. So shifting all our attention now to the Rust Belt trio called the Blue Wall. These three states backed the Democratic nominee in every election since 1988, until Trump ironically built the Red Wall in 2016, swiping all three states by less than a point. So in Wisconsin, Harris consistently led Trump until Trump took lead on October 17th, and then Harris again on October 30th, and currently she's up by a razor-thin margin of 0.3%. Early mail-in ballots indicates a strong foundation for Democrats, who lead Republicans by 9%, but we also see 41% of still undecided voters. It's important to mention that historically, Republican voters are more likely to vote in person on election day, whereas Democratic voters favor early in-person or mail-in voting. So it will come down to the voters' turnout on election day, which can shift the lead in either direction. But it is absolutely shocking how fast the tables have turned on Polymarket. Just about a day ago, Trump had 60% chances of winning Wisconsin, but today Harris suddenly gained lead at 51%. This goes on to show really how competitive Wisconsin is going to be. But we also shouldn't forget that Wisconsin had some of the largest polling errors in previous two election cycles, when, of course, as you guessed it, Trump's performance was enormously underestimated by 6.7% in 2016 and even 7.8% in 2020. If the current polling average contains the same error as in 2020, Republicans would sweep Wisconsin by even 7.5%. So let's say if polls were more accurate this year, then Wisconsin would be a tilt Democrat state. I'm personally very doubtful about this because of polling errors highly benefiting Trump, and Wisconsin is perceived as the most Republican state out of three. It was Biden's lowest margin of victory in the Rust Belt in 2020. Similar to every battleground state, Harris performs better in higher population cities like Milwaukee and Madison, while northern and western rural areas lean to Trump. Conservative suburbs around Milwaukee have shown possibility of shifting blue, which is why Trump needs to maximize rural areas turnout, while Kamala Harris must hold high support in urban cities, because just a small change in several thousand votes can swing the state in either direction. And now we're moving to the Great Lakes state of Michigan. Michigan is perceived less competitive and the most Democratic Rust Belt state. The latest polling average has Harris leading by 0.8%. Prior to Biden's withdrawal, Trump was leading but by arguably the thinnest margin among the swing states. Once Harris became the Democratic nominee, she has been leading by an average 1.5% until Trump took lead for a while, and now Harris once again. In terms of early 2.5 million votes cast, Democrats hold a 5% advantage, which is less than in Wisconsin, but Michigan does have a lot less undecided voters. Now, betting odds suggest Harris has 57% chances of taking Michigan. Polling errors once again do favor Trump. In 2020, Michigan was another key swing state that underestimated Trump by 5.1%, which, if adjusted into the current margin, would put Trump ahead by 4.3%. I do consider Michigan the most bluest Rust Belt state since it was Biden's highest margin of victory in 2020, almost 3%. So this means Michigan will go in tilt Democrat column. Last state on our map is Pennsylvania, arguably the most important key battleground state that holds 19 electoral votes. This explains the reason why both candidates are holding so many rallies in Pennsylvania. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Current polling average has Trump leading by 0.5%. Polling averages indicates that Pennsylvania is the most competitive state. Trump and Harris are continuously moving back and forth. Trump leads for a couple of days and then Harris leads for a couple of days. Now, in terms of early voting, Democrats are holding substantial lead of 24%, which is the highest lead than in any of 6 battleground states. However, betting markets suggest a complete opposite scenario of Trump having 56% chances of winning and Harris currently 44%. But it does seem that Harris will soon take lead here as Trump's chances have started dropping down. And finally, the polling error as always benefits Trump, who was underestimated by 3.5% in 2020. Adjusting the polling error from previous election, and Trump would win Pennsylvania by 4%. This means Pennsylvania will go down as a tilt Republican state. So this concludes our 2024 election prediction. Donald Trump would win this election with 287 electoral votes. The easiest path to victory for Kamala Harris is winning entire Rust Belt, winning Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in order to reach the magical number 270. Now for Donald Trump, it would be winning North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and one of the Rust Belt states. It doesn't matter if it's Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania, he needs one of the Rust Belt states in order to win this election. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and don't forget to go out and vote, because this is going to be perhaps the most important election in 21st century.